They're doing the same thing here, right? They don't need to crush the lanes to get to that strong ball timing. They don't need to be head on goal. That's the power of Alchemist. You take a bad chrono, he's going to go high ground. And you have the damage to take that high ground defense without a big spell like Chronosphere.
Okay, but if you don't slip up, isn't this Necrophos in a pretty dream scenario? He's matched up against Huskar. He's matched up against Alchemist. I mean,
yes, scale-wise, for sure.
Yeah, they're going to scale well into this game. So if they can win the lanes, which I don't think is totally unfeasible. I think Centaur and Necrophos are going to do pretty well. I think you've got an Enchantress for a reason.
30 seconds to battle.
Like you just gotta chill. You know, don't throw any bad chronos and you're good.
Just
Diotis
chill.
is on Gaimin Gladiators, and when have they ever executed in their careers, huh?
Yeah, that's true. Definitely never seen this team do that well on LAN.
Yeah, they haven't won that much. Well, we'll see what Save's able to do with this support Centaur. I'm a believer. Avery's not. I'm a believer in Huskar being countered. I'm a big believer in ganking this guy as soon as possible, and they're going to try and do just that, but the gankers are going to turn around, and it's going to be Pure who's going to be dying first as they easily pick it up with Duraccio. They really misread that situation on BetBoom.
Yeah, that's a tough first blood to give away. Extra XP to Quinn as well. This is the downside of some of these clunky heroes. Like you can't even win these early fights. You're going to be in trouble on the lanes. Now, I do think this Necro lane is almost guaranteed to win over the course of the duration.
Yeah.
The theoretical downside, I think, here in BetBoom going for the lane win on the Necro lane as opposed to the Huskar lane, which I think they had an option to do as well. They could have played support Invoker. That was the other route.
Yep.
And, you know, we've seen Toronto Tokyo play it for sure, right? And actually, I don't think it's that weak in the meta.
No, I've seen a lot.
Yeah.
In,
so you could have picked another mid laner in theory to slow down the Huskar instead of slowing down the Alk.
yeah, I thought initially they were going to Necro straight into his lane.
Well, the Necro doesn't beat the Huskar mid. That's part of the problem, yeah. I think it's a
okay.
rough lane. The Necro will beat the Alk over time, but he's not going to win the early waves here. Alk CM is a very strong dual lane. It's a very strong shove lane as well. So Alk will get something here, and he's just going to go jungle. And that's the downside, right? Alk is one of the best junglers in the game, especially if you have stacks. Now, the Necro can chase him a little bit, but with the support Centaur, is it the best invasion? I don't know. So it's an interesting idea to, okay, if you're going to pick between Alk and Huskar to shut down, I would rather shut down the Huskar. Because I think he's going to drive a lot more of the tempo, and Alk is always going to do Alk things. I feel like it's a little hard to stop with your supports here.
Sure. Okay.
Maybe that would have been hard either way. And maybe they just prefer to give Pure like the dominant laner, right? Because they like to play through him a lot of times.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, if you're going to elevate anybody in the laning phase, I think it's definitely Pure. You want this guy to feel comfortable. I think anytime you take a traditional carry and put him into that off role instead, the first requirement is, okay, he's got to be feeling good about the game. Like, you can't have this guy, you can't just, like, this isn't somebody that you could just put him into a terrible position and have him recover. Because most of his skill set is not set around that.
That's probably true. You got to cater to the carries, as always.
Yeah.
So this is a game I think he has to make sure the Reaper site counts and fights on the big core targets. Because I'm pretty sure Gaming are going to have fine lanes here. This Dazzle Tusk lane is it's a free lane versus Void. There's no aggressive real potential here outside of maybe a cheeky time dilation kill. Your Necro lane's going to maybe do okay, but it's going to draw early. And the Huskar is going to have a free-for-all. Because Huskar is not going to get shut down on lane. I've seen Quinn play this matchup way too many times. I think he has a pretty good edge here against GPK. And Invoker's just not a hero that's going to shut him down on the early waves. So you're going to have a very fat Huskar that you're going to be able to play through on the side of gaming no matter what. It's just a question of can you take the fights. And we've seen BetBoom do that. So I expect them to take very smart fights here, not give up bad core kills on the map, and make the ults count. That's the biggest deal, right? Make the Chronosphere count, make the Reaper Scythe count, and get the big core kills. Like, I don't want to be seeing you Reaper Scythe that Crystal Maiden, you know? I just don't know if it's good enough this game.
Sure. I mean, considering the fact he's got 2 different strength cores to be targeting, if he ever wastes that Reaper Scythe like that on a support, then something's going wrong. But he is also matched up against a Dazzle, so it's not going to be the easiest time getting these Reaper Scythes off in the first place.
That's another question. Did BetBoom address Dazzle in these fights?
Yeah, when you're already talking about the fact that, like, can you actually hunt down the Alchemist when he's jungling? Like, that sort of active playstyle, if it's missing and hunting down the Alchemist, it probably means it's also missing and hunting down the Dazzle in a team fight.
Yeah, you have the Stampede, you have Faceless Void you can get on the back line with like some Sunstrikes or Cataclysms later. I think they have some tools to deal with Dazzle. The issue is you have double save. You have Tuskar Snowball too.
Yep.
So this Reaper Scythe is not guaranteed in the fight. There's potential for Blink Snowball save, there's potential for the Grave, and that can turn a lot around when you have heroes like Huskar and Alk, right? Vessel could be very interesting for BetBoom as well. They can get it going. And we'll see how far GPK decides to commit down that path, because one of the things with Invoker this patch is like, you really do want the Midas, right? I mean, the Midas, I mean, everybody wants a Midas.
Everybody wants a Midas in this patch, yeah. But
I want a Midas in
Vessel
real life.
seems like must-have. Got to generate that side income nowadays, you know?
All right, check Pure's PC right now. Just make sure we don't, we don't start a new year with the same mistakes. All right, he looks good.
Referee, keep a close eye, please.
Well, I'm not officially telling the referee to do that. Okay, that's a little too far. Okay,
I will.
That's fair. I'm just saying, you make sure that Spotify's closed. We don't want any interruptions here.
Yeah, they're not even at this tournament.
They got closed. I guess somebody closed Spotify for the event permanently. God damn, absolutely savage. Austin no longer has any fucks left to give, apparently. Day one, game one. I mean, that's why they hire him.
You know, once you reach your peak in your career, then it's all downhill from there.
I mean, look at this lane. What's happening, though? I want to shift the net worth if we can, because CS is telling you one story, but of course you have Alchemist, you have Dazzle farming. He's top of the board by a huge margin right now. He has pulled almost 1,000 net worth out of this lane matchup, which is not getting better for Nightfall at all.
It's going to get even worse if they start giving away kills, too.
Ooh.
Beautiful stomp. What a great three-man stomp, Avery, and a double edge that hits all of them.
And
who said Centaur can't make plays?
And he's dead.
Yeah, but it was a big move.
I think Pierre's dead, too.
Nobody's going to TP rotate for this? No?
And Tarachi got the last
okay,
hit. Even
they
got the
have to
Grievous
kill him
screen.
bottom lane. You must kill Ace here.
I mean,
otherwise,
with the what? That's what I was saying. Nightfall's just getting bullied in this lane. He has no aggressive potential here.
Yikes.
This is not, even if you go for the kill, it's going to cost you more than you get out of it. This is not the laning phase BetBoom we're hoping for, I think, because again, you're staring down the barrel of a very fast tempo lineup.
All right, well, now this feels like desperation, but if it works, fantastic. Unfortunately, the disarm's going to come through. That's going to be a problem. State's going to get another double edge and get himself killed.
Unfortunately, he's a Centaur. He has no armor. So. I want to say that's, okay, this is also my biggest issue with support Centaur. Centaur works because the way they balance this hero is they gave him insane HP regen at the cost of armor. So when you go to lane, you buy Ring of Protections, you get a fast Vanguard, and then all of a sudden you're an incredibly obnoxious laning hero. You don't have any of that as a support. He has Windlay Stick, 1 armor. You run in a lane, you double edge yourself, you nuke yourself for 300. Every right click they do is basically pure damage. You can't win these trades. Like, the hero does not trade well as a support. It's deceptively awful. My rant is now complete. We'll see how the rest of the game progresses here.
It is a good point, especially like it feels like there's a weird like overlap then at that point in time with Tranquil Boots when your advantage is supposed to be HP regen anyway.
Right. The way you win lanes with Centaurs through the HP regen. That's his biggest strength. It's not really his spell. So I don't know. I've always felt the support has some big holes you need to cover here, and I mean we're seeing it. These rotations have not worked out for BetBoom. I think they have to converge both supports, right? That's the biggest factor, and we've seen Gaimin do that. Like, they'll bring the Maiden and the Tusk to a lane. They'll make the double kill happen top. They're happy to converge bottom here on Ace, who's another very strong kill opportunity for them. BetBoom just haven't been able to make the same happen with the Enchantress and the Centaur, which is one way you can enable Centaur's lack of tradability. You just bring the better numbers, and then you can't stand there and hit him back.
Sure. Yeah.
But the problem is the laning pressure has been too severe. Like, Toronto Tokyo does not feel like he can leave Nightfall in this lane, and for correct reasons, because he cannot.
Okay, so the lanes are already a loss.
Yes.
In which case, we are all in on the game changer of GPK, I think, right? Like, that is the advantage that they do have over Gaimin Gladiators, is they have a mid laner who will make moves.
True.
Once he gets to that item set, which I'm not sure if he can wait for a full-out Vessel, though he really needs it. He may have to make moves with just an Urn, because this current situation is not looking too good.
Gotta invade the jungle, get some wards out, or play off Sunstrikes, which, I mean, like, even level 1 Sunstrike is a decent spell nowadays if he wants to sit mid. But he has to get involved in some capacity, right? Like, what Quinn's getting away with right now is, it's deadly, man. When Huskar gets this free flow of a game, even at 23 denies off the mid lane, which is just a brutal amount of XP. Like, we're looking at a level 8 Huskar to a level 6 Invoker. He's almost level 7, but, man, Quinn just had his way on the lane. He's having his way in the jungle. And this is a hard hero to contest when he has the game flow he's having, right? I mean, we've all been in these Huskar games. You know, you see Huskar on your team, flip a coin, right?
Right.
The guy's either 0-10 or he's 10-0. And it starts from like that first 1 or 2 kills that slow his pace, so he's always trying to catch up. But if he gets ahead, you know, enemy Huskar is always 10-0. Huskar on your team's always 0-10. True. But I'll let you in on a tip. It's because you're a bad support. So.
Well, I thought you were just talking to the audience in general, not to me.
Yeah, that wasn't the audience in general.
Oh.
I'll let you in on a secret. The reason the Huskar on your team is 0-10 is because you don't go and play around.
That is true.
Ooh.
GPK kills Quinn. He got a Sunstrike on him. Oh, I hope we're able to get a replay of that one.
That was a nasty Sunstrike.
That was we're not going to be able to get a replay of that one.
Damn.
Sorry I brought it up at all, production. Toronto Tokyo is dead. Nightfall is constantly under the gun in this bottom lane.
They're going to bring Dyrachio down here just to try and push this tower in. All right, he's going to go back through. But again, the double support's just outnumbering BetBoom on the map right now. This is a fairly low impact early game from Save, who usually I point to as one of their best early game players in terms of making moves around the map. Like we saw them ban the Wind Ranger. Because his Wind Ranger is a very strong laner and he likes to gank with it. It's just going to be a slow game for him, which means you're going to go into the jungle with the Huskar and the Alk. You're going to have to let the fight maybe come to you, and then they're going to smoke up the Necro to mid with the Blade Mail completed here.
I think they're going for the Huskar again, right?
Yeah, they want to find him, but again, they don't have the deep wards to scout this.
Yeah.
That's why those early invasions matter. You get the deep obs, and these next smokes,
I mean,
connect.
it would work if they go between the tier 1 and tier 2. That's a hard line to get through.
I mean, yeah, looking
like
here,
without
though,
breaking the smoke.
they know where he is now, right? Process of elimination.
Yeah.
And that new Sunstrike, man, I feel like every time I play against Invoker, it catches me off guard because you have the Spell Amp built in now.
Yeah,
so
much damage.
The pure damage from Sunstrike is always like 30 or 50 more than you're used to.
Yeah, anytime you amp up pure damage in any way. Thing is, Quinn's not going to be abandoning this this jungle spot.
Well, he is going to abandon it for a little bit. I mean, and a Reaper on the Crystal Maiden. Pierre's like, whatever. I guess he killed himself. I'll use it on the Maiden.
I was literally going to talk about how experienced Quinn is on the Huskar, and how he's not going to put himself in a position to get ganked, and then he literally just fumbles an armlet toggle.
I mean, it's early in the tournament.
That's some basic 5K stuff, you know?
He's jet lagged, neutral creep lagged. What can you do? That was pretty embarrassing, though.
Are you impersonating Quinn right now?
No, that was embarrassing as hell. I'm laughing my ass off at it. He had Fairy Fire, too. Didn't even use it here. Just got ganked by the Lizard. What can you do? I mean, it actually hurts a lot because he was DD farming Ancient Stack having a free-for-all, right?
Yeah, it was like that Reaper Scythe actually landed.
Yes, in a way, because they got the mid tower off the Skelly Boys doing work off of Toronto Tokyo's rotation. So suddenly that stabilized a bit of this early game. It was really nice for Pure. He got something out of that move instead of just wasting his time. There was the Chrono use bottom that did not yield anything, should be mentioned. So that is a cooldown for another 100 seconds on Nightfall. Unable to defend this safe lane tier 1. Green light for Gaimin to just move in and take it over. Inevitable here. But this is all a bit slower because Quinn got ganked by the giant Frost Ogre mage.
Listen, it was like a 6v1. What could he do? Pure needs to be bailed out here. They already had the tower under control, so Gaimin Gladiators tried to make the most of the situation. They said, okay, they're giving up this tower. Let's make the move to top immediately, try and catch Pure off guard. Doesn't quite land thanks to the interception there from Save, but good attempt by Gaimin Gladiators anyway. And it's not like they need these things to succeed. The game is just naturally going their way.
Oh, Quinn fighting some more neutral creeps down here. So he's gonna take the 1v1. He's like, okay, sick of getting ganked in the jungle. Need someone my own size. Imagine he gets Sunstruck right now.
God, that'd be
Imagine
so good.
He gets Sunstruck right now.
Well, it's going to be instead Ace, who is going to get Sunstruck. Not quite enough damage, but they'll get there in the end. Nobody's coming to save him. Looks like Pure, they're going to try and do some damage to him here. Good use of that Ghost Shroud to dodge damage from that unstable concoction. Unfortunately, the damage from Celery being level 7. The supports are just feasting on Gaimin Gladiators.
This is a last pick Necro in a favorable match that went 1 and 3 because this Maiden Alk lane is just so damn strong, and I like how they've played it too. Dyrachio has just held his ground up here. Like, he does not give Pure a lot of space in this off lane. Held his tower.
Oh, nice use of the Tumbler Toy there to sync up with the Tornado, allowing the EMP to land, not letting him get off the Snowball.
Damn, EA.
Great stuff from Save.
Making that Centaur look viable.
Pulled him out of the trash can there for a moment.
Just for a moment. So it's going to be some road to a little bit of recovery here for BetBoom, but they're making some good moves. Finding some openings, and most importantly, letting the Midas go to work for Nightfall. You're even going to smoke him with that Chrono coming back up, Stampede 20. Again, you want to use these ults off cooldown if you can in this game, and you want to find the big core targets. So they're going to look deep here.
Yeah, I mean, one target is the Huskar has an Aegis, so can't really go for that. If they just catch Celery, that's not going to feel great, but they use the Chronosphere to lock down all these heroes. Can they get the one kill that they're looking for? They do. Tornado not quite clipping Quinn there. Maybe would have been able to take away his Aegis, which they do with a Sunstrike. Well done.
Damn, he is on point today, GPK.
Gotta has to be to turn this game around. Tofu and Ace still feeling like they can keep being aggressive. Another good stomp that's going to land on a Tofu. They'll both die. Support for support.
Another kill for GPK. He's just racking him up here. This is pushing him towards his Midas off that Vessel.
They have the Reaper Scythe that they wanted to put it to use here. There is Ace sitting in the back line. So Pure's got to push away Ace to make sure there is no Shallow Grave save, but they don't even need it. They just put the damage in regardless. And Ace never really got the opportunity. Shallow Grave not leveled up yet. That's why. Only level 9.
He was holding the point, but I mean, good point holds on both sides. That's why they're not Reapering. Just walks him down.
Yeah.
The only upside here for Gaimin is you have Alk in the jungle getting uncontested, but those are great kills for BetBoom. Changed a lot of the momentum in this game. Off a weak lane phase, suddenly they're like coming alive, right? Making the moves, collapsing with numbers, and getting Pure involved. Now back to the bot, so his game is cruising once again. And those are really big kills for GPK. This Invoker start was really slow off the lane because the Huskar just outlaned him, but now all of a sudden, he got Midas. He got an entire Midas basically off that sequence. Wow. Got to use it, still has 2 Vessel charges, and now is almost level 12 on this Invoker. He is higher level than Quinn. And with the start Quinn had and all the Ancients that he died to, that was a lot to overcome here.
I think the levels are particularly important, right, when you do the Quaswex Invoker, where you need to transition into being a damage dealer at some point with the Exort build. You have to have the levels to be able to actually do that, right? So
absolutely. This is the combination is I mean, it's Invoker Faceless Void, right?
Yep.
I can't tell you how many tournaments I saw Miracle Invoker with a Tumba Man Faceless Void go to town. It's an old school combination for a reason. You go late game, like I do not doubt BetBoom's late game capability here, right?
Yeah.
So you are on a bit of a clock if you're game. Alk generally does not win late games in this meta. He is not that great of a late game carry. I mean, if you have other carries that can split some of the load, he does fine, but in all of these carry matchup man fights, you're going to get absolutely manhandled. His damage falls off pretty hard. So if you're BetBoom, you got some of these big kills. If the game slows down, you get the farm. That Aegis as well got wasted. Really important, right? Because if you're looking to push with this BKB coming out on Deracho, if you had an Aegis on Huskar for another minute or something here, you could force objectives pretty confidently. And these Aegises are going to be really important, forcing it into the Reaper, forcing it into the Chrono. So that was another big win. And you're getting your supports back in the game. Blink Dagger is going to be completed for save off the Tick Gold here as it comes into play. So, hey, your support Centaur, he's online.
"17 minutes in, Gaimin Gladiators, that net worth not building up the way it was supposed to. Kind of been stuck now at this 4 or 5K net worth lead, which is a lot, yes, but it's also an Alchemist lineup. With a Huskar, you're expecting to have a pretty sizable net worth lead.
We should mention, however, this Alk is fairly big, right? He got those Necro kills on lane. He's level 14, which is just ridiculous. He is so high ahead of the BetBoom cores here on an Alk.
That's a move. Save, having a poke here in the top lane, just trying to get a reaction out of them, and yeah, it was a reaction. Deracho will pick up the free kill.
Yeah, Deracho pokes a bit harder here.
Yeah.
And once more, he's still defending this safe lane tier 1. Deracho has been incredibly active, giving the space on the triangle to the Huskar, giving space to Ace on mid lane, for example. So once more, Deracho, I mean, he kind of gets shoved into like the reposition on carry and still finds his way. And he's going to be who they played through here. With double BKB coming out, now completed on Quinn and Deracho here. This is where Gaimin want to get the next Roshan and force objectives. with the debuff immunity here, it's going to come down to where and when Dyrachyo wants to take that fight. And if you're BetBoom, you're just holding ults, and you want to meet him there, right?
I love how our wonderful our camera crew, they're like, all right, we missed that one Sunstrike kill, never again. All right, we're keeping an eye on this Quinn GPK situation for the rest of the game.
I mean, he's not going to die to neutrals again. He's not going to die to Sunstrike again, randomly.
He's definitely dying to Sunstrike at least one more time.
That would be a curse. There's just a Quinn cam now. They call this the embarrassment cam. We have to keep an eye on you. Nice D ward here on the Centaur.
Big D ward from the support Centaur. I'm just going to hype up everything support Centaur does from now on. Just for you, Avery.
Let's say he gets a cart in this game.
Oh, a cart necro?
Let's say you load GPK into the cart.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
No, that's the... I just think it'd be funny.
Carry him off the field.
Man, right-click Invoker in the late game is no joke.
True.
There's an invasion smoke from Gaimin trying to find something. It's been a while since they've found anything other than, you know, Dyrachyo finding these cheeky kills top. But they aren't really progressing the map or progressing the game. They're not closing out BetBoom farming right now. And you got to remember, they have double Midas. So you're going to pull ahead a little bit with Greevil's Greed here, but not by a huge margin.
He goes for it straight up. Sees an opportunity to blow up the Dazzle, the hero that they are most worried about when it comes to the counterplay against their Reaper's Sight, but Nightfall is going to be caught. Not that Time Walk is going to be able to get away. What a stomp, though, coming in from safe. Not enough to be able to help him, but it does bring down Tofu. Now they just need to be able to kite out this BKB and get away from Quinn, but Quinn is going to be able to catch up to Pure, slowing him down further, and that'll be the end of him. They even get a little bit more here. Looks like the, yeah, they caught up to save. Celery trying to defend himself against Toronto Tokyo, gets the help. A lending hand there from the Sunstrike of GPK gives Toronto Tokyo the vision to land that last hit.
And Toronto Tokyo, he's getting a decent amount out of these fights.
Yep.
This is a hero we've seen BetBoom go back to time and time again because it gives you the laning and it gives you some extra damage scale in the fights, which they love. So Toronto Tokyo getting some work done, but that is a costly gank. The upside for BetBoom is you gank that on game inside, you force TPs in a defensive area. Now they have to run back on the map, right? It's slowing the game down still, and they know this, so that's why they make the move there. But Dyrachyo, man, he is just so damn big. He gets it all done on his own here. BKB, dodge the hoof stomp, and then these corrosive blades just, you can't run away. You are stuck there forever, so Dyrachyo makes his presence felt with the first BKB usage. It's a damn good one. More last hits for the Alchemist, who continues his reign of terror, really. Like, I think BetBoom can deal with the Dazzle and the Huskar in these fights. It hasn't looked too difficult for them, but they have not been able to answer the Alchemist so far.
Which means the toughest part of this game is very likely going to be this next Roshan timing.
That's
right?
the
Where
biggest
if they get an Aegis on Quinn, do you think they give it to the Huskar because it feels like the Alchemist is untouchable?
I think that's the ideal, right? Dyrachyo, you can't go on him. He has a Grave behind him as well, and then you give the Aegis to the Huskar so you can play aggressively into the Reaper Scythe and the Vessels and all of that. I mean, that's like the dream. But this next 5 or 6 minutes is, I mean, it's most of Gaimin's game plan, right?
Yep.
They want this to go well. And if BetBoom can stop it, shut it down, kill the momentum, they're going to be in a really good spot because they have that 4th core coming online in the Toronto Tokyo Enchantress.
Yeah, this is the part of the game that determines whether, if you weren't watching, you just check the scoreboard afterwards, you're going to see, oh man, Gaimin Gladiators just stomped the hell out of BetBoom. Or you're going to see it was a 55-minute comeback by BetBoom. One way or the other, it comes down to these next few minutes and how these team fights are executed. In this one, BetBoom do manage to get away without a casualty.
Which is great, because they have 2 cores farming both side lanes here. And one of them is the boots of travel on Pure. So they're ready to react to the fight.
And they're even going to be aggressive here, moving down to the bottom lane where Ace...
This is a really nice gank if they get it off. They have the Sunstrike to back it up. So they have enough damage here with Reaper Sight. They can get on top of him.
I think Ace definitely knows he's being targeted. And a lot of these situations, like he has been the one that hunted down the most, right?
The life of the Daz, man. You're just too damn powerful. Dyrachyo looking for another aggressive initiation of his own. Taking matters into his own hands.
GPK.
Other than being able to see a hero.
Any detection? Vision? Ooh, thought he went left.
Oh,
Tofu actually has a ward sentry, though. Tornado is going to be able to catch him. The shard. pushing them away, but they get him with the unstable concoction. Dyrachyo was never too far away.
8-0 on this safe lane out. Just putting the game on his back right now.
Yeah, seriously.
I honestly don't think the rest of this game is going too great for Gaimin.
And he has probably just cleared the way for Gaimin Gladiators to do that Radiant side Roshan number 2.
That was a big pickoff. Imagine that pickoff goes BetBoom's way instead of Gaimin. You might be able to take that Rosh for yourself because you have the PKB on Nightfall here.
Or at least stall it up long enough that then it becomes a dire side Roshan, which, you know, maybe you are able to stall it up even further. You still have your offlane tower if you're BetBoom. So the other pit is something that BetBoom does control pretty well.
And once more, they're just going to let Quinn solo it. So trying to be ultra efficient on the map. Once more, if Quinn gets sunstruck here, you're going to be very sad. I'm trying.
You're trying to will it into existence so badly.
But it will not happen. He will collect Aegis cheese here. So you can also give cheese to one of the other cores.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
And it could be pretty influential if you don't get the burst off. This is
trying to burst out the Alchemist, and they get it. The damage has
God damn, that was fast.
begun to rack up.
Yeah, that ag coming out definitely helps you there. Now you have Chronocata. You have to be pretty fast with the Graves and maybe a snowball on the edge if you can manage it. That's a big find. That's an 8-0 streak as well, so 2,000 gold. Most of it going into GPK's pocket. Easy clap. Man, playing Invoker's the life, man. You just farm creeps. Put a Forge Spirit in a lane, don't even have to show. Your team does all the work, you just sunstrike the guy at the end, you're like, I'm good.
It's like it's a nicer life than Zeus.
Yeah, it's more brain dead one too. Everybody thinks of Invoker like it's a hard hero to play. Oh, you gotta click a million buttons.
Oh, you gotta be a pianist to be able to actually play this hero.
After drooling on your keyboard for 60 minutes. Like, congrats. You know, that's why I respect Tinker players. You know what I'm saying? Because the Tinker player.
Do not hype up Tinker players.
The Tinker player must struggle for all the 60 or 80 minutes to win that game. You know?
Shallow Grave is the counter, ready to go.
Yeah, that was an ambitious
and with
grave.
the Aghanim Scepter, Pure's not going anywhere.
Or an ambitious Reaper sight, I would say.
A foolhardy one, perhaps.
Look at this.
Oh, look at that! Quinn aggressively TPing onto the creep, uses the glyph to make sure it stays alive.
Yeah, where you going, son?
Can you enchant a glyph to creep?
Yeah, I think so.
Wonder if it was on cooldown.
Huh.
Radiant structures are fortified.
That's a weird interaction. But we're going to see the high ground here because, again, you mess up a little bit, use one of those ults. They go high ground, they're going to try for another huge kill thing, get it, but no Chrono this time.
No Chrono, so this time around Dyrachyo's able to get off
who's
BKB, and
who?
boy, does he chunk down. And it's interesting how really Gaimin Gladiators is to continue to take fights without the Alchemist.
I mean, this lineup, just there's so much sustain. Any of their 3 cores can back the other one up. So as long as they have 2 of the 3, they're happy to push objectives. And this is that 20 to 25 minute period where it's 26, so it got delayed a little bit. Your lineup cannot deal with the sustain going high ground unless you have everybody together with the ults off cooldown. It's just not an easy fight to take. And BetBoom, they slipped up a little bit in this game and it cost them a lane. Which is definitely not game over either. I mean, this is a game where they can give up 2 sets of racks and still easily win.
Yeah.
It just points to how precarious some of these situations are, right? That they've been playing this game fairly well, but one bad death bottom for Pure in the wrong part of the map, and a failed gank top, and that's a lane.
And because of their boots of travels that they have, they're able to quickly rotate to another lane. These lanes are constantly being pushed in.
And Gaimin are not going to stop, right? As long as they have this Aegis, they want to force the fight. They want to make you come into them and up the chance you make another mistake going into the multiple lives.
And even just to pick off on a support, seriously limits BetBoom's ability to be able to respond here as they're trying to bail out save. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, that Dazzle hurts with the 2 armor Centaur here.
Yeah, he's underneath all of this minus armor. Solar Crested.
Yeah, there's a lot of armor synergy coming out from Gaimin right now. Solar Crest, Acid Spray, bad juju. With a Tuskar to go through with the physical burst. It's nasty. And Toronto Tokyo once more, he just gets caught out a little bit.
bash puts him away with the Hurricane Pike, and that'll allow him to be able to reset no problem.
Where was the quick cam?
Took away the Aegis from Quinn. That's going to make things a lot harder for them to take this high ground fight, but they're still going to go for it. Immediately pop the BKB, but the Ghost Shot protects the Necrophos for now. They're cutting this out. Now Pierre's going to use a BKB of his own out of fear.
Nightfall trying to look on the side for a chrono opportunity. You got to remember Quinn has this cheese, so he's trying to bait out this Reaper.
Nice little pickup there. Tofu trying to get too aggressive there. Gaimin Gladiators, the rest of them on retreat. And they're picking up all their Lincolns too, so that this is going to make it harder and harder for Gaimin Gladiators to get the initiation that they've been thriving off of.
Yep. If they get to like another set of items after this, I think they're in a pretty good position. Again, I don't think these lanes are asking me too much. They're kind of an inevitability unless you played a perfect game here. The biggest thing for me is Toronto-Tokyo. I think a lot of these fights for BetBoom, you need to have the Enchantress there at the start. And that's how you want to start them, right? Because Toronto-Tokyo is very strong.
Yes,
he has the
Enchantress
shard.
is a pretty good counter to Huskar, right?
Yeah, it's a good Ench game. I mean, it's not like it's the best, but it's good enough where you can go in, start poking people with this Grove Bow plus Hurricane Pike, be really annoying on the high ground siege, and force Gaimin to jump you or maybe make a slight mistake, an early BKB, whatever. That's going to give you an opening, right?
And I would say one of the best buffs to Enchantress recently was the fact they changed that the pounce, right? Over to the shard, so now you've got a bit of mobility. You're saying you have to jump this Enchantress, but now she actually has a way to be able to reposition herself against the shards.
I think it's a decent way to poke and see how the fight develops. And I think if they jump your Enchantress, you should be pretty fine with that.
Yeah.
Like the burst is not as fast as we've seen it on Save, who has no armor here.
Yeah.
So I think that's something that Peppu want to consider. But it has to be together, right? It has to be Toronto-Tokyo at the front, the bulwark in that formation, and then everybody's ready to take the fight when it happens. He gets caught out like this. That's a very different story where, I mean, you're just a pickoff, right? There's no chrono turnaround on the clump. There's no setup here. It's going to be another death on the field, 50 seconds. He does have buyback. He wants to commit it here. But damn, no Aegis. They are still forcing the issue. They're going to glyph. And you got to remember, cheese on Quinn here. Something you have to keep in mind when you're playing around with the chrono and the Reaper.
I feel like the Enchantress is actually maybe one of the worst pickoffs. They get the Chronosphere, actually managed to get it. Quinn walks into it, and they win for the Dazzle, trying to blow him up before the Shell Graves come factor, but Ace managed to get it off just in time. Now he's turning around, getting off these hexes while Dotatu goes for the kill on Toronto-Tokyo. He wants that support. Dengani gets it on the dieback. Now Nightfall has to retreat. Doratu's too much to handle during his BKB, but it's going to wear out soon. Now they can start pumping that magic damage into him. Snowball save, pushes them over onto the center, manages to finish him up. Doratu getting low, though, kited out, and will end up dying. BetBoom will hold this fight for now, and they will take it. It cost them a bit, but they do manage to walk away the victors.
Man, GBK doing mad work damage-wise at the end of that fight to help take out the Alchemist, but, I mean, Pure's just alive the whole time. He's just running around with Heartstopper, melting everybody in these engagements.
Yeah.
And that chrono ended up being very nice for Nightfall, because he catches the Dazzle is true, but the big thing was Quinn walked into it.
Yeah, no, it was a better Chronosphere than it should have been.
Yes, because Quinn walked into it and then ended up getting Reapered at the end. So instead of double here with the Kata coming through the Reaper, the Dazzle's in and he can't save Quinn. That's maybe the biggest thing on the fight, right?
Yep.
Because if Quinn's still alive, you can maybe take this turnaround if you're gaming. It's going to be close, but there's potential. You lose 2 cores in a chrono, that is the dream for Nightfall. And now it's just cleanup duty. Heartstopper, Vessels, and the right clicks from GPK are going to give you everything you need here. Nothing left in the tank. That's a great team fight for BetBoom. And you had the right targets getting gone on in the jump, right? You had this like support sacrificial play where you had the buyback from Toronto-Tokyo. Save just goes in. A lot of the attention at the start of that is what are these supports doing on BetBoom, and it allows a flank from Nightfall to get the good angle. So that's the type of fight setup I think will favor them the best. And that is the best role that Toronto-Tokyo and Save can play.
Now, ideally,
BetBoom
would have wanted to be able to take a fight like that and take away that Roshan from Gaimin Gladiators, but they are now back, and Roshan, the potential spawn time is literally starting right now, so it just means they have no cooldowns. So if it's a fast Roshan, it's free for Gaimin Gladiators. If it's a longer one, you're probably still having a tough time fighting, and you're still going to be stuck in another situation where you're defending for your life.
But I think the game is way more comfortable for BetBoom off that fight. That was a pivotal fight, right? Is it, again, a lineup where are you confident going into your late game scale with the Alk, Dazzle, Huskar? You kind of are. I mean, you have some good tools. You can also get like the Ag's kickback on the Tuskar, right? That's always a very influential item. Yeah. I think Huskar, Dazzle scale incredibly well. I'm not worried about the 6 slots on them. I'm a bit more worried about the 6 slots on Dyrachyo, especially since he was the one having the big game. I don't know. It's just Necro, Invoker, Faceless Void with an Enchantress core to back it up.
Yeah, I feel like this lineup from like in a theoretical position, Dazzle can do so much, but the way the game is actually going in reality is he's being hard shut down by BetBoom. It is
they're
a huge
focus him every time.
Yeah.
Nightfall wants to find this Dazzle in the Chrono. There's no real save for it. You can't snowball save him in the middle of the Chrono. So, yeah, Aeon Disc coming out for Ace here tells you the story of his life right now. He just wants to survive the initial jump. And it's going to be perhaps Signal to go Nullifier or something later on Nightfall. He also wants Scotty in this game. I think Scotty for the Faceless Void is maybe one of the bigger items. Really good versus the heal lineup here, but also just giving him the HP where Gaimin might not be able to burst the Faceless Void, even if they catch him with the Huskar Ags or a stun from, you know, the Alchemist jump. You have 4 staffs bailout between both supports on the side of BetBoom. You have Tornado, Deafening Blast. It's a lot to go through. So your BKBs on Gaimin are ultra important right now. You need to make sure when the BKBs get popped on the Alk and the Huskar that you get big core kills out of that. Otherwise, BetBoom, I think, are winning that long fight. Time dilation and the Invoker spells are just going to push it over the edge. And another
wrap around here. Nightfall.
Yeah, interesting angle.
It breaks, so they know that Gaimin Gladiators is in this spot. They need to be able to group up a little bit more here.
The Wolf will tank a Huskar jump.
Get a little vision. Dyrachyo, he's going to pop it. Running into Toronto. He hops himself away. He gets the Dazzle on the side, but he's got an Neon Disc this time around. It's going to be a much harder kill, but he still managed to get the stomp. Can they finish him off in time? The Bachelor coming through, but no, he got off the shallow grave. Now they're going to start running out of damage. Dyrachyo and Quinn placed aggressively, not going to allow Nightfall to be able to jump away so easily. Gets another time walk off. Into the pit he goes, but he's trapped in a corner, and there's nothing GPK can do to stop it.
At least he'll get out. I mean, that is big news because your Invokers, your map pressure, and your base defense, right? And Roche still not up here. You're actually going to be up by the time the Roche is up as well. That was a very weird fight because Dyrachyo just went into them, and as we saw, Nightfall does not want to go on the Alk with the Dazzle behind. I mean, it's a terrible fight setup for them. He wants to find Dazzle, forces a super deep jump. Really heads up play by GPK to hold the Cataclysm, actually, because that Cata hit after the Aeon Disc. I don't know if... I mean, I'm sure he noticed it, but that was the only thing that made that fight close.
Is this the pick? Is this just trying to get away? I'm not sure what's going on here because GPK and Stay both look unsure about this situation. Oh no! The snowball pulled him up into the high ground after they tried to chase after GPK, who blinked in a direction that pulled that snowball straight into Pure.
That was not the gank he was looking for.
No, it wasn't.
I like the poke from BetBoom because I think poking, maybe losing center there is okay. You're getting information, you're slowing down the push here. Damn, losing the Necro, that just feels really bad there as GPK will throw his teammate under the bus.
I think there was an assumption there that Gaimin Gladiators were going to be playing for Roshan, and anybody who showed anywhere else was going to be a pickoff.
There's no glyph here. Got 45 seconds.
No buyback?
Alcohol's coming up at 15. No chrono for 35. This is a very awkward situation.
And if they get this kill in Toronto Toku, that makes it even harder. That's supposed to be their big poke in the back line.
Do you commit for throne here if you're gaming? You know, okay, the glyph actually just came up. Don't know if they had the clock on this.
Make things a little bit more awkward. Dyrachyo's going to make the jump in onto the Faceless Void. They've got the damage to blow him up, and that Chronosphere is not there. The Cataclysm wasn't enough to get a kill, and that's the end of the game. Gaimin Gladiators look for an opportunity to end it quickly.
Okay, I mean, a sequence of unfortunate